Hi everyone, my name is Chloe. If you're new to my channel, I generally do quite sort of reviews, conversations, rants, and also social commentary style videos. So it's just me speaking about my perspective of the world, and that is influenced from my experiences as a black woman living in London, living in the UK, and from a working class feminist perspective. So if any of that sounds of interest to you and you are new to my channel, please hit the subscribe button and don't forget to let me know what you think of today's video below and give me a like. It is so hot in London right now. I'm pushing through. I literally feel quite nauseous, I'm not gonna lie, but please just bear with me, okay? So today I'm going to be making a video exploring the way that black women are humiliated for entertainment. It's seen as a form of entertainment in terms of like the comedy space, but also online. There was also recent conversation around Tyler Perry and the films that he creates alongside Love Island as well. But before I get into this, we know that some of us are treated more harsh than others because of things like colorism, fat phobia, transphobia, and ableism. So that's something that I really want to address from the beginning of this video. And as a cis-het black woman who is skinny, able-bodied, and light-skinned, I think I can't have this conversation without addressing that and without stating this very clearly. And though I'm going to touch on some of the things that I don't experience, I think it's really important that everybody watching this goes and support the creators who talk about this topic. So for example, Sincerely Owasa, we have Mayowa, Khadija, and Boe as well. So please check out all of these creators. I will put them on the screen as I'm listing them out right now. So I think this topic, first and foremost, we have to start off with history, and I'm just gonna really try and just have it in a, or talk about this in a very conversational way. So anti-black hatred and sexism that we face as black women, we can see that through history. The transatlantic slave trade, the enslavement, the sexual exploitation, forced labour of black women is connected to this dehumanization. This idea that we're able to withstand more pain, right? You also have this idea that we are animalistic, that our sexuality sort of ties into this element of like sexual promiscuity, yeah? And it, because of the perspective, you know, the European, it kind of reflects this kind of Christian ideas around sex and deviant. And when you sort of tie those ideas around, you know, kind of like a fear of womanhood, of sexuality, and then also blackness, you can see how that can result in black women being seen as more worthy of punishment and deserving humiliation. We're not seen as victims, we're not seen as people that need to be protected or deserve support. Because of these gender and racial hierarchies, it makes us very vulnerable to be made the butt of the joke as a result, right? Because we don't have that same relationship to privilege as some of our counterparts. And though I highlight that, I know that it's to varying degrees within the experiences of black womanhood, and that it's a very diverse community, right? So that then brings us to the present day examples of this sort of humiliation, dehumanization of black women. And every year there is the same discourse around Love Island and the casting and how the dark-skinned black women in particular are treated on the show year after year. And what really angers me is that it's like re-traumatizing having to see this over and over for dark-skinned black women, right? You can't tell me that the Love Island producers do not see those tweets, do not see the conversation around the casting decisions they're making, do nothing about it, continue to create an environment which is colorist, which is discriminatory. So that is just one of many examples. But some of the way that the fan bases behave, like every year, the racism, it's a lot to take in, okay? And I think these, of course, these things have a psychological impact, and there's not that care and consideration being had towards dark-skinned people towards dark-skinned black women specifically. It's unacceptable. Like, I've seen the conversation around Love Island USA as well, and the way that Orlandria and Shelley are being treated by fans of the show. And I always feel this with reality TV. It's so quick for people to make black women, specifically dark-skinned black women, the villain. And it's like their hatred comes out in how they engage with dark-skinned black women contestants on the show. Like, can't express no emotion, can't react to it. It's just too much. You can't disagree. It's just and why there was some influencer, I think she's been on the show before, who was boxing a punching bag and saying this is Orlandria and Shelley. Is it really that deep to the you're bringing it into your life like this? It's a TV show. But moving on to the pop the balloon. So I'm going to share a video of a contestant who's commenting on a black woman's hair. So this really highlights the misogyny once again.
And now, is she someone that's your type?
Not so much.
Okay. And why not?
I'll say more so like the hair. So more so attracted to longer hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. And Sandy, why'd you end up popping your balloon?
I ended up popping it because you're attractive, you know, you got it going on. But that comment about hair, I know your mama got short hair too. She's black. At the end of the day, black women, you don't know what to expect with our hair. We could wear it straight, we could wear it curly, and that was just like too much for me. So I don't got time for it. If you don't know, if you can't grow up from your roots, then you can't grow up with me. So that's how I feel.
And once again, it's this environment that is being created on the show, because let's be honest, it creates content. And you've got those red pillars who overall are very pro-black men only. They love this idea of like humbling and insulting, embarrassing black women to promote their businesses and build a platform. You might not always say it, but if you just watch a couple of episodes, you start to notice a pattern in like who they are being nice to and who they're not, okay? So moving on, Tyler Perry. I feel as though Tyler Perry's platform reflects how he feels about black people, but especially black women. It's so deep-rooted. Straw was not, I feel like people were acting as if Straw was some radical story that really conveyed his love for black women, and I just, I actually think, the way that he portrays black women reflects a weird kind of obsession with us. And as a working class person, I feel like Straw makes me uncomfortable because it's almost like this weird kind of, it's just like you're eating popcorn to the difficulties that some black women are facing, right? That working class black women are facing in the context of Straw. And you can tell these stories in a way that really gets to the root of some of these things, but also empowers and I don't know, but there's just, I always feel like with Tyler, it's like he's humiliating. He's always trying to shock. That's the thing. And who is impacted by him wanting to shock the audience in what is being shown, right? We want to see stories of black working class people. We want to see stories of black working class women. Like, I think sometimes when people talk about this, they're really saying that they don't want to see poor people on screen. And I want to see poor people on screen. I just think there's a way to do it. And it's interesting because when you look at articles around, I might put it on the screen, but there was an article I read that was discussing who is Tyler Perry's audience, and it said overwhelmingly black women, black Christian women, right? And I think it was like maybe 40s, 50s, 60s. And it's interesting because that belief system correlates with attitudes towards blackness and womanhood. And the characters are often being disciplined. They're learning harsh lessons. They're learning you shouldn't have fell for that guy, and this is why now you're in this terrible situation. You've lost your house. Like, it's always this very dehumanizing and just cruel stories. It's not, you don't leave watching Tyler Perry feeling good about yourself, should we say. But moving on, online content creators mocking us as comedy. So my sister actually showed me this video of a creator. He is a black man attempting to imitate Basically, he's putting on a wig, and this is all to apparently portray Serena Williams. He should have really clocked. This shouldn't be funny to him. The conversation around wigs in particular, oh, we can't grow our hair, and completely ignoring the history of hair discrimination as to why some black women are more likely to have hair loss and things like that because of the way that we're having to tie our hair back and exist in a world that sees our hair as a challenge, as something that should be slicked down and presented in a very particular way. Of course you're going to have a complex or a struggle with your hair. And I think that's sometimes what people forget, and there's that lack of empathy for sure, which does link to this conversation. And it's just not, I just really find it concerning that people are still engaging with this type of content and think it's funny. But yes, the dialogue, to bring it back to, you know, the diversity of womanhood, the dialogue around clocking trans women, the way that Miss Netta is treated online, like there definitely is a rush to humble Miss Netta. And some of the things that Miss Netta has said, particularly, I can't remember exactly, but I don't agree with some of the things that Miss Netta has said. At the same time, I recognise that she is vulnerable to being bullied, to being treated horribly, and she has a right to be frustrated with the way that she's being discriminated against, right? So it's just really about calling that out, because I do not agree with that. I also think that the way that masculine black women or black women that identify as studs sort of used as jokes, and particularly, like, I've noticed on the Breakfast Club a couple of times, like, oh, are they a stud? It's like, it's always like this sort of laugh and giggle thing. I'm like, that's someone's experience, it's just weird. I feel like sometimes, a lot of the times, that the way that straight men in particular interact with lesbians and women that don't like men is very odd. It's very, like, they're kind of like uncomfortable, and the jokes or the comedy that they push out on their platforms or just like in everyday conversation, of a vibe to it that reeks of lesphobia. So I really wanted to mention that as well. Please let me know what you thought of today's video. The heat is killing me, so I'm just hoping that I explained everything in a decent way. But if there was anything I missed out, the conversation doesn't end here. Please continue it in the comments below. Bye.